네, 안녕하세요. 김원장의 인사이트입니다. 오늘은 대나이브즈가 12월 26일 수압 네트워크 방송에 출연하여 약 10분가량 인터뷰를 하였는데요. 중요한 내용이 많이 있어 요약 설명드리고 마지막에 제가 자막 작업을 한 영상을 함께 보도록 하겠습니다. 이번 자막 작업에서는 제가 이해하기 어려운 내용들이 있어서 이를 감안하고 봐주시기 바랍니다. 그래도 전체 내용을 이해하는 데는 무리가 없을 듯 합니다. 먼저 대나이브즈는 팔란티어, 테슬라, 애플과 같은 주요 기업들의 성공을 미리 예측하며 투자자들에게 깊은 인상을 남긴 인물입니다. 그의 예측과 통찰을 중심으로 오늘 이야기를 풀어나가도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 대나이브즈가 강조한 점 중 하나는 4차 산업혁명의 진행입니다. 그는 지금이 테크 산업의 새벽 4시까지 이어지는 파티에서 저녁 10시에 해당한다고 표현하며 아직도 엄청난 성장 잠재력이 남아있다고 말했습니다. 특히 인공지능 기술이 산업 전반에 걸쳐 변화를 이끌고 있다고 합니다. 그는 AI 기술로 인해 2조 달러 규모의 자본 지출 시대가 열릴 것이며 이는 엔비디아와 같은 반도체 기업이 중심에 서 있다고 강조하였습니다. 그는 엔비디아 칩 한 개당 8에서 10배의 경제적 파급 효과가 발생하며 소프트웨어, 사이버 보안, 인프라 등 다양한 기술 분야에 큰 영향을 미칠 것이라고 했습니다. 이런 이유로 AI는 이제 막 시작 단계에 불과하다는 것입니다. 테슬라에 대해서는 대나이브즈는 테슬라를 단순한 자동차 회사가 아닌 혁신적인 기술 회사로 봅니다. 특히 자율주행 기술과 로보틱스가 테슬라의 미래를 이끌어갈 핵심이라고 강조했습니다. 그는 테슬라의 주가가 낙관적으로는 600달러까지 오를 수 있다고 말하며 테슬라가 무지개 끝에 황금이라고 표현하기도 했습니다. 그리고 팔란티어에 대한 이야기도 빼놓을 수 없는데요. 그는 팔란티어를 다음의 오라클로 평가하며 현재 75달러에서 나아가 125달러까지 상승할 가능성이 있다고 봤습니다. 그는 팔란티어의 강점으로는 미국 정부와 군대의 협력을 들며 이로 인해 기업 시장에서도 빠르게 성장할 수 있을 것이라고 확신했습니다. 또한 애플과 엔비디아에 대한 전망도 언급했는데요. 애플은 소비자 혁명의 중심으로 엔비디아는 AI 혁명의 신으로 평가하며 각각 350달러와 200달러까지 오를 가능성을 제시했습니다. 대나이브즈가 제시한 중요한 예측 중 하나는 기술업계의 인수합병 M&A 활동이 50에서 75%까지 증가할 것이라는 점입니다. 그는 단순히 기업 간의 거래가 늘어난다는 의미를 넘어서 산업구조의 대대적인 재편을 예고하는 신호로 볼 수 있습니다. 그는 AI와 데이터 중심의 기술 발전이 인수합병을 촉진할 것이라고 설명합니다. 특히 작은 기술 스타트업들이 대형 기술 행사의 주요 인수 대상으로 떠오를 가능성이 크며 이는 시장 경쟁력을 더욱 치열하게 만들 것입니다. 인수합병의 증가로 기술 산업들은 시장에서의 입지를 강화하고 혁신적인 기술을 빠르게 확보하는 데 주력할 것입니다. 마지막으로 대나이브즈는 2025년을 향해 3가지 독특한 예측을 공유했습니다. 첫째, 자율주행 사이버 택시가 상용화될 가능성이 매우 크며 둘째, 기술업계의 인수합병 M&A가 50에서 75%까지 증가할 것이며 셋째, 팔란티어가 오라클처럼 주요 AI 플레이어로 자리 잡을 것이라고 말했습니다. 대나이브즈는 4차 산업혁명과 AI가 시장에 큰 변화를 이끌 것이며 지금이 기술 주식을 매수하기 적기라고 강조했습니다. 그의 통찰력은 단순한 예측이 아니라 오랜 시간 동안 축적된 분석과 신념에서 나온 것입니다. 오늘 이야기한 내용이 여러분에게 새로운 영감을 주었기를 바랍니다. 기술시장의 변화와 앞으로의 기회에 더 많은 정보를 나누고 싶으시다면 꼭 구독과 좋아요, 알람 부탁드립니다. 다음에 또 유익한 이야기로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 이상으로 김원장의 인사이트를 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.
We bring in a pro, our special guest, Dan Ives, Managing Director, Equity Research, Wedbush Securities. All right, Dan Ives is here. The man who, I got to give it up to you. Palantir, Tesla, Apple, and you called so many of these winners when people were saying no. What gave you the strength to really stick to your tech calls? Especially, we've had some days, I remember in early August, remember that big sell-off? We've had some wild days in the year, and you stuck by it. Why?
Look, me and you've talked for years, right? I mean, I'm just not one that sits there and based on sort of a blip, a macro geopolitical Fed moment, throw the towel in. And I think we're in the midst of a fourth industrial revolution. And as that plays out, it's still only 10 p.m. It was 9 p.m. earlier this year. It's 10 p.m. in the AI party. AI party goes to 4 a.m. Haters will hate. Get the popcorn out. I think we're only year 3 of it's going to be a 5-6 year bull cycle.
And when they talk about the AI revolution and how it goes into so many, it's not just semiconductors.
Well, that's the key. I mean, for every dollar spent on an Nvidia chip, there's an $8 to $10 multiplier across the rest of tech, software, cybersecurity, infrastructure. That's the key. That's why this is only just getting started for $2 trillion of AI capex, and that's why names like, if you look at yesterday, that was a pound the table moment in tech, just like Tokyo Black Monday.
And so with that, you have all of these positives. You said how it's going to move on to software, cybersecurity, infrastructure. These are how it affects other sectors, big picture. We have names that we're watching when it comes to the Mag 7 that grabbed our attention. How about Tesla? And you project Tesla to be a huge winner?
I mean, it's the bet for the ages when you look at Musk's bet on Trump. Because when it comes to autonomous, I think autonomous is worth $1 trillion alone. And for all those Karate Kid fans, it's a sweep the leg moment. What's happened in the Beltway when it comes to regulatory. And that's a huge, the biggest beneficiary from all of this is going to be Musk and Tesla. And that's why you've seen a lot of bears go deep into their caves in hibernation mode over the last month.
When we think about Tesla, we may not have EV subsidies, but Tesla is so much more than just an automobile. Tesla is so much more, right? People shouldn't even think of this as just a car company or just an EV company.
Look, calling them a car company, I think is actually it's an insult. This is a disruptive technology company that now, when you look at autonomous and robotics, that's the next step in the Tesla story, is the gold at the end of the rainbow. And that's why I think we're just getting started in this next stage of Tesla as autonomous now becomes front and center over the coming years.
What's your I guess base case and bull case for the new year for Tesla? In the 500 range?
515's base case, bull case is 650. And Nicole, I think it would be conservative when you think about $2 trillion. I mean, I think this is one of it. If it plays out, because we assume no value for Optimus. You start to put Optimus value in there, you get a lot more than $2 trillion.
All right, you called Palantir before people didn't know how to spell Palantir. And what an incredible year. It was well over 300-something% for the year of 2024. Soared. What is your base case and bull case on Palantir? And what will drive Palantir? What makes it so special? I want to know the stock price and what makes it special for 2025.
Well, that's why it's the Messi of AI. And look, we always say, the haters, they hate Palantir as a teenager at 13. Despise it as a senior citizen at $75 living in Delray Beach, right? So haters hate. They don't understand that Palantir, I believe, could be the next Oracle. And you could be looking at $100, $125 stock as this all plays out, specifically within AIP and the enterprise. And that's why Palantir, I view as probably the purest play AI name in the market.
And the deals with the U.S. Army, right? They have something special. They're something different, aren't they?
I mean, Alex Karp's in the Mount Rushmore when it comes to AI, along with Godfather of AI, Jensen, Nvidia, Nadella, and others. And I think that's the secret sauce, because everything that they've done, the government, three-letter agencies around the world, now it's focused on enterprise. And Nicole, it goes back to the second, third derivatives of AI. Now that party we talk about, software is invited. They're on the dance floor. Benioff, Salesforce. Now, Karp's been on the dance floor for a while, but this just starts out to our view of the Palantir story.
Yeah. I know you mentioned Oracle. We'll watch for what goes on with that name. How about Apple and Nvidia? Still love them both for the new year, right?
They're table pounders. I look at what we've seen in Nvidia. That's just a knee-jerk reaction, digestion period. Demand to supply is still 15 to 1. If there's one red phone, you need that chip. There's only one company in the world. It's Godfather of AI, Jensen, Nvidia. I think $4 trillion is the first one to make it to Apple, right? And then second will be followed by Nvidia and then ultimately Microsoft. But it shows when it comes to Apple, the consumer AI revolution will go through Cupertino and Cook. And I think more and more that investors are starting to recognize that. I think as this ultimately plays out with Apple Intelligence.
Yeah. And what's your base case and bull case on Nvidia? Your stock price there?
I think 180 to 200. I think when you look at Nvidia and how that ultimately plays out. And I think when you look at Apple, 3 to 350 is ultimately going to be the base to bull case.
What about the monetization of AI? Has any company, in your opinion, successfully started doing this?
I think it started. I think look at Palantir. Look at ServiceNow, what McDermott's doing. Look now what Benioff did in this last quarter. What you're starting to see even with names like Snowflake, Elastic, and others. My whole point is that it starts with Nvidia, but now it's real. The monetization's happening. And I always said, the bears have missed every transformational tech name the last 20 years because they can't find it in their spreadsheet. The point is, this is no different. We're talking about a fourth industrial revolution that's being built out. And the bears, will miss it again. And I think that's how this plays out as this second, third, fourth phase of AI, ultimately start to come in 2025.
I would love 3 predictions, maybe a little quirky or a little out of the comfort zone, whether, it's for Tesla or Nvidia, some predictions for 2025. I'd love 3 of them that will leave me scratching my head as I go to bed and I dream about the new year.
Okay. So 1, autonomous in terms of cyber cab, a year from now, that's something that ultimately starts to be in production for cyber cab, and those are on the road by early 26. That'll be 1. 2, with the nightmare from tech gone, con from the FTC, we are going to see tech M&A up anywhere from 50 to 75%. I think it's going to be just pandemonium, the type of M&A that we see in tech. And the third thing, I ultimately believe it's really going to be when it comes to Palantir. Can Palantir start to make its road to what I believe could be the next Oracle over the next 4 to 5 years?
Do you have worries about AI? I mean, does it get to be too much in any way, shape, or form? The worries that people had. There was a time that Elon Musk was actually clamoring, slow down AI for the good of the people. What happened to that conversation? Remember that?
Well, ironically, Musk is going to be key, in terms of the bromance with Trump, that we're going to actually see AI innovation centers within the U.S. I mean, you're going to see, that's a huge piece that we're going to see within the Beltway. Look, my view is regulatory going to be there? Are there some safety concerns down the road? Of course. But right now, this technology, we're talking about something that's going to change the world. And I think many investors haven't really thought out, in my opinion, the scope and the scale of what this is going to do. And that's why I believe a few, call it 12, 18 months from now, we're talking about NASDAQ 25,000. I mean, Tuckman's going to have to start to get those hats out.
And then buy on the dips. You buy on all dips, so you're not worried about recession or inflation or some crazy pullback or volatility?
Look, Nicole, my view is this market's going higher. You buy the winners on the geopolitical, the Fed, the black swan events, all you buy it. I mean, that was what we talked about last night with investors. In other words, has anything changed in the market? No. If Fed's a little less dovish, is that moving the needle for us? No, because Fed's cutting next 100, call it 100 bips, next call it 12, 18, 24 months. And this AI revolution, it's still 10 p.m. in this part. It goes to 4 a.m. China tariffs, there's a lot of other things going to happen, but I think Bark's ultimately going to be worse than a bite when it plays out. And that's our view, right, in terms of, as this plays out, 2025.
Great to see you, Dan Ives.
Great
Thanks for playing along, too, and giving me the outlook of all kinds for 25. It's been a great year, Dan, and we love having you on. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Of Wedbush.